I'm going to do something a little bit different. A little bit different this time. I am going to evaluate. I want to kind of play a little bit of a game with you guys today. I want to evaluate, or I want to play this game that's basically guilty or innocent based off of the court of public opinion. Guilty or innocent. Now, I've personally been looking at and holding people and civilians accountable for what has been happening to our police force. As I am a huge supporter in the police, I believe that the overwhelming majority of what we see from our police officers go largely unappreciated. But I'd be being a bit disingenuous if I didn't also keep that same smoke on the other side when people send me videos about police officers doing egregious things. So what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate two different scenarios and two different situations in order to determine whether or not these police officers should be locked up, arrested, and thrown under the jail, or if they should be released because they're actually innocent and the person, whoever it was, warranted this type of action and this behavior as a result of it. First, just to let you know how unbiased I am, we're going to start off over in Michigan. A Michigan State police officer or state trooper, is basically being charged with murder. Now, we're going to put them on a court of public opinion, and then we're going to see, and I'm looking at this for the first time, we're going to evaluate whether or not they were right or whether or not they were wrong. All right, let's get to it.
A Michigan State Police detective is facing second-degree murder and manslaughter charges tonight.
Yeah, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel filed the charges today. It involves a police chase and death of 25-year-old Samuel Sterling. Nessel called 50-year-old trooper Brian Keeley legally and grossly negligent. Now, Rod Maloney spoke with Sterling's parents about the charges and takes a look at the larger implications in this case.
It is cases just like this one that put a white-hot spotlight on police use of deadly force and the outcry that it brings. We're going to be hearing from Samuel Sterling's parents here in a second. But it also has police unions wondering just how far prosecutors like Dana Nessel can go before they put a true chilling impact on policing in general.
Get your hands in the air right now!
It is all on video. April 17th, a crime task force out looking for felons with warrants out came across Samuel Sterling, a probation absconder, putting air in a car tire. He ran. Officers gave chase. Detective Sergeant Brian Keeley, driving an unmarked MSP cruiser, drove up to and hit Sterling, briefly pinning him against a fast food restaurant wall.
So, they were out looking for criminals, okay? And I'm presenting the case. I'm going to break it down from a C student's perspective. They looking for felons. Felons that shouldn't be out on the street. Either they doing something or they did something that they wasn't supposed to do. Or they violated their probation or whatever. And so they spotted one. They gave chase. And apparently, throughout the process, somehow, some way, this 25-year-old person got hit by a car or something like that, or a state trooper hit them with a car. Let me back up for a minute.
Up to and hit Sterling, briefly pinning him against a fast food restaurant wall. Sterling then slumped to the ground, officers searching him and cuffing him. As for the second-degree murder charge, Brian's parents, Michael Sterling and Andrika Cage, told Local 4 of the case and of the video.
I can't watch it because
it looked like that he hit him. It looked like they basically hit him with the car. They pinned him up against the actual fast food restaurant before backing up and then eventually cuffing him. Let's continue.
It's too graphic for me. But I'm glad, they charged him.
We glad he getting charged. We just hope he get charged for the fullest.
I hope he get convicted.
But Michael went further, saying the other officers not charged deserve discipline as well.
Had their knee on his chest, handcuffed him, turning him over, and just standing there watching him die. So I feel, some of them should get charged too.
Samuel writhed in pain and later died in the hospital. Still, Police Officer Association of Michigan President Jim Tagnanelli told Local 4 that he believes Attorney General Dana Nessel overcharged here.
These guys were part of a crime, allegedly, and they're running from the police. And aren't we supposed to try to catch the bad guys? And we are human beings, and we make mistakes. I'm not even sure a mistake happened here, in my opinion.
What's more, he says, police veterans are now quitting the job, not wanting to face felony charges for doing their jobs. And he adds, these kinds of charges hurt recruiting.
And we used to have waiting lists for academies. We used to have 7 or 8 academies running every year. Now we have academies with nobody in them.
Samuel Sterling's parents have gone and hired well-known Detroit attorney Ven Johnson. Johnson telling Local 4 that he wants to make sure that MSP and the officer involved are held fully accountable.
So, question. AJ Wise, it's a tough one. Listen. It's not as easy as just saying, hey, they should be charged or they shouldn't be charged. It's a lot of factors that goes on here, right? Based off of what we've seen, and I'm reacting to it in real time. Number one, he was a felon apparently. Being chased, ran from the police officer, whether it was mistakenly or not, they went after the bad guy. They trying to prevent people inside of the community from doing whatever. Apparently, he hit him with a car. I'm not sure how legal that is. You know what I'm saying? And the dude wound up dying inside of the hospital. And this is what the Michigan Attorney General is charging the police officers or that police officer with a crime. I'm not sure exactly what they're charging them with. Let me see.
Hello, I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Shortly before noon on April 17th, 2024, Michigan State Police Detective Sergeant Brian Keeley, as part of the MSP Fugitive Task Force, attempted to bring Samuel Sterling into custody when Mr. Sterling fled by foot. A number of MSP troopers and other local law enforcement agents proceeded to chase Mr. Sterling, both in their vehicles and by foot, when the vehicle Detective Sergeant Keeley was driving turned and struck Mr. Sterling in a nearby fast food restaurant parking lot. Mr. Sterling was transported to the University of Michigan Metro Health Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries later that day. My office has reviewed multiple police reports from other officers on the scene, read the accident reconstruction report and autopsy, as well as watched body cam footage and surveillance videos from neighboring businesses prior to completing our investigation. We have found that Detective Sergeant Keeley's actions that day were legally grossly negligent and created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, which could have otherwise been prevented. As a result, today we filed the following charges against Brian Keeley in the Kentwood 62B District Court. 1 count of murder in the second degree, a life offense, or alternatively, 1 count of involuntary manslaughter, a 15-year felony. It's important to note that a criminal charge is merely an allegation and that the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. Public integrity is a top priority, and my department remains dedicated to providing a thorough and just review and resolution in each case brought before us. It was equally as important in this matter that our review was swift, both for Mr. Sterling's family, the greater Grand Rapids region, and the law enforcement community at large.
So, here's the question. Does the police officer deserve to spend life in prison as a result of chasing and then ultimately, I don't know if it was mistakenly, I don't know if it was purposely, but ultimately pinning the perp up against the wall? Now, it's a possibility, right? And I guess that's to be determined in the law of court based off of whatever these charges that's being filed against them. It's a possibility that he meant to cut off the perp and then mistakenly pinned him. I don't know. I have no clue whatsoever. But again, we are playing people's court today, right? And so in the people's court, the question is then posed to you guys. Should the police officer spend the rest of their lives in prison as a result of being charged for trying to stop crime inside of y'all, or these perps from being able to rock out inside of y'all neighborhoods. Now, the flip side of it, I want to present it on both sides, right? The flip side of it is one side. The one side is, hey, there's no reason that he possibly should have died from running away from the police. He shouldn't have ran away from the police, but there's no reason why your life should be taken running away from the police. That's one side. The second side is police officers are saying, we don't want to be police officers anymore, and so we're going to leave y'all to be able to defend y'all own neighborhoods as a result of the possibility of a mistake like this happening or something like this happening, and then ultimately they got to spend the rest of their lives in jail. So it's a case to be made on both sides. I'm sure that the extremists that hate the police is going to be on one side. I'm sure the people that are a lot more conservative are going to be on other sides. But if you look at it holistically across the board, what would you say needs to be done? And are the police, should they be held accountable to the extent to where he spent the rest of his life in jail as a result of what happened with this guy? Think about it. Let's move over into the next one though. Let's give you another case. A woman is basically filing a $10 million sexual assault lawsuit against the police officers in Mississippi for apparently doing something that they wasn't supposed to do. Let's take a look. We playing a game. Is the police officer liable, or should they be released and they being overly zealous about what it is that they're trying to do against our police force?
Senatobia Police Department is facing a $10 million lawsuit. It comes after a woman says a police officer sexually assaulted her during a traffic stop.
And tonight only on Fox 13, this victim shares with us the moments leading up to that alleged assault. Fox 13's Sierra Jordan was covering this story before she went to that breaking news you just saw her live on. She has the latest.
The $10 million lawsuit was filed by attorney Carlos Moore. Now, I was able to speak to the victim, and she says she is now dealing with emotional and mental distress and physical injuries after she says she was sexually assaulted by a Senatobia police officer.
Nobody deserves to go through that. The law is supposed to protect you.
The city of Senatobia.
Hold on. Is that the woman that said that she got assaulted by a police officer? Oh, all right. Different case, different thing. This has nothing to do with the death. This got something to do with a woman that's saying that she got felt up and she said she want $10 million against a Mississippi police officer for apparently sexually assaulting her.
Nobody deserves to go through that. The law is supposed to protect you.
The city of Senatobia, Mississippi is under a duty to operate its policing activities lawfully to preserve the peace of the city of Senatobia. However, Santara Jackson says her civil rights were violated during a traffic stop.
Like I was having nightmares and stuff.
Last summer, Jackson says she was a passenger in her fiance's car driving through Sardis, Mississippi. Suddenly, she says blue and red flashing lights appeared in the rearview mirror. They were pulled over in a traffic stop by a Sardis police officer.
The officer had a gun at the window, so I was kind of shocked. I was like, baby, they got a gun at the window, like he gonna shoot us or what? So he said, get out of the car.
Jackson says they followed his orders, but another police cruiser showed up to assist on scene. But it was not a Sardis police officer. Jackson says the cruiser said Senatobia Police Department.
In case something went wrong, I want to record to make sure that nothing happened.
This cell phone video shows the moments before the assault. You can see the Sardis police officer demanding Jackson's boyfriend to get inside the police cruiser. Then the Sardis police officer, known as Willis McNeil, proceeded to arrest her.
Turn around. What you mean?
But instead of going to the police station, Jackson says she was taken into the woods.
He bent me over the car and he took the cuffs off and he violated me.
Confused and
Whoa, wait a minute. Let me put some stop up in it. So, question. What was they stopped for? Another question. What did they get arrested for? Another question. I need to see the Kendra cam. Listen. I need to see the Kendra cam. I want all of the evidence. In order for me to be able to make an assessment on this, I can't just take your word for it. I can't just take your word for it. This is what I need to see. I need to see what your body looked like. I want to know what you looked like that night. Was the police officer extra? What is going on in this place? I want to see the Kendra cam because ain't no way in the world you gon' try to convince me that I want to see the camera. I want to see the body cam. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just saying I want to see the Kendra cam. That's all.
Scared. Jackson says she had no way of escaping.
What is
Confused and scared.
What is going into the woods and violating? What exactly does that mean? Did he fill you up? She said he bent her over and violated her. Come on, man. I ain't going for it, artifacts. I need the proof, Rain. I need the proof, big dog.
The woods.
He bent me over the car and he took the cuffs off and he violated me.
Confused and scared.
Why would he take the cuffs off though? That's the part that I'm trying to understand. Okay, so let's say he gonna violate you. Let's say he take you into the woods and all of that and he turned the body cam off. What I'm trying to understand is why would he take the cuffs off if he violating you? It is three sides to this, Tia Marie.
Jackson says she had no way of escaping. She says Officer Neal called the station to tell them she was getting a courtesy ride back home.
My next thought was just making it home to my children. That's all I wanted to do, get home.
Heck no.
Now, Fox 13 reached out to the San Antonio Police Department for comment. They sent us this statement that reads, Attorney Moore makes allegations against defendant Willis McNeil and says he was on duty for the San Antonio Police Department. Moore's allegation is blatantly false. We also tried reaching out to Sardis Police to find out why she was pulled over, but we are still waiting to hear back.
I'm going to be honest with you. In the court of public opinion, and Anton's court of public opinion, this is what my thought is. By default, I don't believe it. By default, I don't believe it. That's just me personally. Now, if they got evidence in a court of, in a court of law, and okay, so this is what I'm trying to understand, and this is one of the reasons why I don't believe it. All right, just using the context clues based off of the People's Court. We in the People's Court. Just using the context clues. This is the reason why I don't believe it. Number one, why would he take the cuffs off in order to assault you? Number two, why would he do this in 2024 knowing that you could just go back and say that? Number three, did you go to the hospital and get a rape kit? Number four, why is it a civil lawsuit and not a criminal suit? Why is it a civil lawsuit and not a criminal lawsuit is what I'm trying to understand. Why is it a civil? How come every time that something happens to these people, because it ain't no statute of limitations that's up on this one, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but this is the People's Court. Why in the court of public opinion is it not a criminal situation? Why is it always you trying to get a bag and you trying to get some money as a result of it? Where did you get this number $10 million from? $10 million? $10 million. And it's 100% civil? And it ain't no criminal? They saying that it's a sexual assault lawsuit. They didn't say that they filed a criminal complaint. They didn't say that they went to the hospital. They didn't say none of that stuff. They just said, oh man, it's just 100% civil. We want $10 million. What? For me, if somebody do something egregious to me, I want to see you go to jail. I want to see you go down. I don't want you to just get away with it. Just get out of here, bro. Seriously? So, again, for me personally, I know that the stories is always convincing. Whenever I see people jump on camera and they say, oh, man, I'm just not going for it. I'm just not going for it, bro. I ain't. So, you're not going to sell me on it. AL, you said a civil case is easier to win, but one doesn't absolve from the other. So you can still file a criminal and then file the civil after the criminal if it's that meaningful to you. They did with OJ. OJ got convicted in the civil case, but he absolutely got free on the criminal case. So one doesn't absolve you from doing the other one if that's what you want to do. But I'm telling you that, listen, be careful, fellas. Be careful. Be careful. So I want to see the report. I want to see what's going on. I'm just not by default just going to believe people just for the sake of the fact that they said it. So that's just me personally. That's where I stand on it on the People's Court. As a matter of fact, I'm changing the name of my other channel from Room 9 to something completely different. And I should be launching some videos starting tomorrow on that channel. So we'll see what happens, depending on what kind of time I got.